You're listening to Garden Master Ken Lain and the Top 10 Gardener Podcast. Welcome to the Top 10 Garden Show.
And back in the studio is Lisa Waters Lane. She comes each week with your garden questions. Just what are people asking, commenting, coming in for? What are people talking about around the town about their gardens? So welcome back to the studio, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah. So your holidays going okay?
Very good. So Christmas done and gone. I've even got it packed up and put away
Boy,
already.
you're fast. I'm telling you, Christmas Eve, she's ready to just almost go.
Well, we had it up early this year.
We did not.
We did. Yeah, we did. So anyways, I was ready to pack it away and it felt good.
I'm proud of you. You didn't throw the poinsettias out the front door. You kept them for they're so beautiful.
They were gorgeous.
They're stunning. She brought in some new varieties, some new colors. You know, we own a garden center. We can have the latest, greatest, newest thing. It's just a shame to have it just destroyed in one night's cold.
Well, yeah, they just have held up so well. And you're right. They are very, very pretty. So I thought, okay, I'll leave them for a little while longer.
Till Valentine's.
We'll see if they make it that long. I don't know.
When they start dropping leaves, that's what bothers me too. I'd say throw them out. They start to whine and complain about the shorter days, or it got cold or too dry, or I don't know. Chuck them then, but they look so good now. Proud of you.
Yeah, thank you.
What are people talking about? What's going on here that we're in between the holidays,
right?
And we're still drinking eggnog, and they're still gardening, or gardeners are always thinking gardening for some reason.
That is true. So first question is from Mark. He says, does the rain we had last week count as a watering for the month, or do I still need 2 deep waterings in the month?
You know, Mark, I don't know how much rain came throughout all the regions. So this is broadcast throughout northern Arizona. And so, you know, the higher peaks might have gotten a little more, a little less. So without knowing you get around a mountain, the west side gets a lot of rain. The back side gets none. So you get this, like Granite Mountain has this weird, funky thing. One side gets so much rain, and then the clouds dump their load, and then they float over, and then there's nothing left for the folks in the backside. So I'm not sure, Mark. I don't know. I would say if you have to ask the question, probably you need 2 waterings. So I did do some digging in our yard, did some planting this week, and the ground was dry. So it was dry, and now I've got heavy clay soil. So if you had more sandy soil, maybe it would have been a little bit wetter, but I don't think so. I don't think it was enough.
The other thing to think about is we hadn't had any rain for a long time. So that soil just took everything in, and there's no saturation yet. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I would still water.
So you should water. For those folks that are tuned in, you should be watering 2 times a month, a deep soak, especially those plants that are newer. If they're under 2 years old, got a newer property, you've got a brand new, let's say a living Christmas tree, you just put in the ground, you need to be watering that twice a month. A deep soak, like you would in June when it's 95 degrees out. Water it that much, and then let it go for a couple of weeks. So it's easy to overdo it this time of year, but it's easier to underdo it because you're thinking, oh, they're cold, they're fine. Yeah. You know, and evergreens especially, they hold those needles until they are dead, and they turn like in a week. They go from green,
people go, what happened,
to brown like that. Well, they died a month ago. They just you didn't know it yet. Right. So hydration. If you're thirsty, it probably is too. And if you have to ask the question, go ahead. I would say a deep snow, like 6 inches or more, that's enough moisture. An inch of rain, and I know we didn't get that much, that might be enough. And that's where you're seeing the ground saturate and starting to flow. So that dry creek in the backyard, you're seeing that start to run. We didn't see that because the ground was dry. It absorbed every drop of rain. So it did take the edge off the forest, that kind of stuff. So it's good.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Any rain is good.
Yep.
I would also say, if you really want to know, go out with a piece of rebar.
Well, there you go.
A long screwdriver. Go poke around in that soil, and that'll help you too.
So you poke around, and if you can get let's say your biggest flathead screwdriver in your toolbox, I mean, not a skinny one, a fat, chubby one, or a small piece of rebar. If you can get that in the ground, it's moist. If you got like, oh my gosh, I can't get that in the ground, it's dry. So that's the secret.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Cheryl. She has a large peony in a pot. She wants to know if she can trim it back now. And if yes, do you cut it back down to the soil or do you leave some
Good
of the
question.
sprouts there?
That's a good question. This is not just for containers, it's for
Just ground,
any
maybe.
peony in the ground, in the garden, raised beds, wherever. So they've grown up. So you've got English peonies are good, knee high or taller. Your Ito peonies are hip high. They're up to they're much bigger, and they're both treated the same way. So you're going to cut that back down to the ground, and just as close as you can without nicking the eyelets that might be coming up. I haven't checked ours, so I still have ours up. It's on my to-do list. I'll get there eventually. There's no rush.
Right.
So I'd say by the end of February, you should be cutting back your perennials, including the peonies. So you're cutting those back to, I don't know, an inch or two to the ground, something like that. Now, peonies are very robust. They can go down to minus, I think, 40 or maybe minus 50 degrees. They don't mind the cold at all. And you'll find them start to emerge from the garden, from the soil, from that container, about sometime after January. So February, sometime you'll start to see, islets are coming up. So gardeners go, spring's coming. Oh, I can't wait for that flower in April and May. So I'd say take your time, cut it back as close as you can, and watch for, are there islets coming out yet? And I don't know yet. But if you do, don't nick those, because this spring's growth. But if not, just cut it back. Doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt it to have it up, not going to hurt it to have it back. They just don't care, but they don't want it, all that extra brown growth. They want last year's growth shading this year's new spring growth. They want the sunshine. So probably if you start to cut it back, the ground will warm up and you'll start to see that growth happen a little sooner.
And water.
Good question. Yeah. Oh, and water your peonies. Don't let them
go
dry.
Yeah. All right. I think we got time for one more. This one is from Amanda. She is getting ready to, she's got a raised bed she put in last year. She's getting ready, wants to get them ready for the coming spring.
Yeah, easy.
The question is, besides mulch or soil, what else would you add into that bed?
So if it's a brand new bed, or older bed, what happens is in raised beds, because the space is so confined, it's only got this much soil. It can't reach out and go, this is kind of old soil. I need to root over there and pick up some more nutrients over there. It's confined. It's like a container garden. So you need to revitalize or refreshen that. And so for last year's raised beds that had plants in them, there's old roots. There's last year's plants. Pull those things out. Old roots in the ground rot, or they start to compost. They taint the soil and they keep other roots from growing in that space. That is not good when you're in a confined, raised bed space. You want to get rid of those. So filter that out. And then plants use up the soil. And so you need to add some freshness to it. That's where your compost, we make a premium mulch. We compost it for a very long time. And we screen it down to 1/4 inch minus. It's very fine. So it looks like it's almost like coffee grounds. And the plants just respond to it as nutrients. Manure, this time of year, look, get some barnyard manure. We make a deodorized manure, so it's not gross. So it's like, I realize poop is bad, stinky, gooey, gross, but not ours. We compost it an extra long time, and then we cut it with some real fine, our mulch, and so it comes out deodorized. You can't even tell it's manure. You'll never see a poop nugget, a turd in there.
Too much.
Yeah, it's not gonna. That would be a good additive on top of there too. And then here's the insider tip. So our plants are grown in Water's potting soil. So potting soil is a grower's mix. That's our grower's mix. And so our tomatoes or cucumbers or flowers, they're started in this, whether it's a cutting or a seed, we start it in Water's potting soil. If you can have that top layer, let's say top 6 to 8 inches of your containers or raised beds, and you could put a few bags of Water's potting soil on, and you're planting directly into that, you're going to have tremendous success, because plants don't like to go through different soil types. They like the same. They like sameness. So if you can give it more of the same thing it's already grown in, it's going to just thrive, and you'll get bigger plants sooner, faster. Anyway, top layer, add some water spotting. So other than that, you're ready to plant starting usually after Valentine's or so.
Your spring plants. Yeah.
Anyway, we are out of time.
Okay.
Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. Be right back after this.
Hi, Waters with this week's Plant of the Week, our True Blue Fat Albert Spruce.
At just 15 feet, this is the ideal evergreen for small gardens, excellent in front yards with limited space.
The color is so blue all year long with the perfect evergreen shape.
Dense, durable, and loves the sun, so it works well as a windbreak, screen, or sound barrier, and only found at
Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott, for people who love the perfect blue spruce, love to shop.
You're listening to Ken Lain, aka the Top 10 Gardener. Ken can be found throughout the week in Prescott at Waters Family Garden Center. Listen daily as he answers the top 10 questions of the week, streaming on Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you download your podcasts.